Okay, this is part 3 of our tutorial here. I'm making this oatmeal dish. Let's start working on the materials and yeah, let's see how it goes. So let's also set up some lighting here, basic lighting. I'll just change this to an area light, change this to square. Let's see, about 5. Let's see. Rotation, rotate this like this. We can go to material mode, to shading mode. Turn on lights. This is material mode. This is rendered mode, and we need to go to the light and also turn on contact shadows. You see, without that, you can see some areas won't get shadows like these areas here, so we need to turn on that, and go to the render setting, turn on ambient occlusion, and also turn on screen space reflections. And we can also turn on soft shadows, because you see the shadows right now are really sharp. So under shadows here in the render settings, we can turn on soft shadows to soften the shadows. So let's bring back the reference image here. It's this one here. You can duplicate this light, clear the rotation so that is above and directly. But this other light can be our diffuse light, can be our key light, so it should be more powerful than other lights. We can also add a fill light on the other side. Shift D, clear rotation, make it face directly, but it needs to be softer and less powerful. Maybe you can also use it as the fill light and rim light at the back there. But let's move it so that we don't see that cutoff. Yeah, so let's begin by working on this bowl here. So I'll add a new material, and I'll find some textures. Let's see, what should we use? 3D textures. This looks like a plain color, just a solid color, but I want to give it some variance using some texture here. So let's find which one should we use? I'll use this here, and I'll add a color mix RGB and use this as a factor. And if we preview this for now, you can see there is not a lot, but this needs to be the factor, not. So let's change this to maybe red, and this one to blue, so that we can see what's going on. Now we can add a convert color ramp between here, and let's first preview this. If you need to have node wrangler to use these shortcuts I'm using in the materials here, so in the node editor. So let's preview this. Okay, the texture is not coming through because I think this is not UV unwrapped, so let's do that first. So for this, let's first go to solid object. Let's turn off this for a second. You can add a seam there, and yeah, I think that's enough. Control E, mark seam, then subdivide, unwrap. So you can see the UVs. Now, if we go back to material, you can see we have everything coming through, but that texture is too big, so we can add mapping, and let's see, increase, it's still repeating, so 5, 5, 5. I think that's good enough. So we can give this that dark color. We can bring back all the other objects. We can also use this as our roughness. And we may also need another color ramp here, but change this to a lighter, so that it's not too reflective. And I think we can also use this for this material here, for this. This is supposed to be brown. And from there we can work on the apple. So we need some apple texture. So let's see if I can find that. Apple texture. Okay. So for that, let's see. For that, we're going to first, let's select this, and I will name it apple slice. And let me search for some textures here that we can use. Apple texture. Apple. So I found this here, this image here. It's small, but it can still work, and we can use box mapping to make it repeated without seeing those seams. So let's bring back the reference image again. Reference image, this is it here. Make sure this is recording. So for the apple, we just need the image. Okay, so image. Now, can I drag from? Yeah, you can also do that. So you can drag directly from a folder to. yeah, to the object, to Blender directly. So instead of UV mapping, I'm just going to use object mapping. So Control T, Control Shift T, yeah, Control T, I think. Then change from object, change from UV to object, and change from flat to box. So we have that, but it's repeating, so we can increase the blend factor here. Doesn't seem to be doing much. So, let's see if we increase the scale here or reduce it 0.5, 0.5 and 0.5. We can also move I don't know. I don't think this is going to be visible a lot. That same there. So we might leave it there. Oh, because this texture is going to be applied only to the top, we just need flat mapping for this. We just need to UV unwrap one part. Just need to mark seams like that. Control E, mark seam, then UV unwrap. We need to first apply this. We can't apply because it's an instance. Oh, what we can do is also select mark a seam, Control E, mark seam for that, and then unwrap. So we just let's get the image here. So this just needs to fit that area, and if you go to the shading, we need to turn this back to UV. You can just delete that like that. I don't know why this is like this, because they also have UVs, good UVs, so oh no. So we can clear some of these seams here. Control E, clear seam, and clear seam, clear seam. Select shading, I'm not sure why this is mapping like this, but I think it's a bug. So okay, so let's continue, because we're going to be using a different material for this area anyways. So and let's apply that. So if we go to object mode here, yeah, let's make sure we are looking at the reference image here. If we go to object mode, turn and add another material here, we can select this top here, assign that, and the inverse can be assigned this material. We can also add another loop here. can see this is what we have. We can also go to shading and turn on in render settings and turn on subsurface scattering, because this object is also going to have that. And we can start working on this material. Let's give this a subsurface scattering 1. Okay, so even these apples will need some subsurface scattering. And this also needs to go to the color. Can reduce on the roughness. Oh, we can also use this as the roughness here. But we need to control that a bit. So we can also use this in the displacement as well. Maybe just use this. And add a math node so that we have control over how much displacement is applied. So we can use 0.1, maybe 0.05. Yeah, we don't want too much, we just want a bit of displacement there. So for the color, because we need around 2 colors, red and green for that. So for that we can how can we randomize that? Okay, for that let's first only preview the colors here. Get these nodes out of the way. We can add an input random. Why is that? SE input object info. Yeah, sure. We need this, and we need a color ramp like this. Use the random factor to connect to that, and if we preview this, you can already see that we have some random colors there, random gray colors. So we need to change this to constant. Make one color green. I don't know how green this should be. No. And another one red. And if you want to change how many green, you just slide these. There will be more green or less green. And if you want, you can add another color here. maybe that kind of green, so that they are all not so we still need to bring in this texture, because you can see this is just a solid color. So for that we need a color mix node, mix RGB, and bring the texture, mix it with the texture, increase the factor, but the texture will override that. So we need to change the blending mode here. Let's play around. If we use overlay, it simply darkens that. If we use screen, I think screen does it, but this green, let's try a different one. This soft light. Yeah, soft light is, oh, what we can do is bring this above instead of below. SC overlay, no, screen, screen does it, but the green is not coming out as I expected. If we make it darker, if we make it brighter, I think that's random enough. So then we can bring this and use it as the base color. I think they are a bit too shiny, so we can, let me see, maybe the roughness, this displacement is quite a lot, so we can try reducing that to 0.01, maybe negative 0.01. Okay, I think this has gone on for a while, so I'll stop here, and in next lesson we'll look at how to make the raisen textures and the oatmeal itself. So